Hello and welcome to Sunspiration. Today is Sunday. My name is Victor Tarfa. Victor Tarfa on a Sunday. That means Sunspiration. You're wondering what Sunspiration is? Sunspiration is inspiration from the Holy Bible. I believe when the human being was created, as I call it, this machine, the manual was given on how to control this machine or how to run in this world that we've been given to live in. Today, I'm going to carry on the topic which I've been talking about, a wonderful series which is called What's in Your Hands. Now, this is part 4, and I named part 4 Believe. Yes, believe. I'm going to start with a question. What if I say to you, by Friday, there'll be absolutely no coronavirus? All the airports are going to be open. Everyone's business is going to come back to normal. The country is going to be thriving as if nothing happened. What's going to go through your head? I'm sure you're going to start arguing. I'm sure there are going to be loads of people shouting, no, that's not possible. It takes 18 months to build a vaccine. And even when the vaccine comes out, it has to be trialed for so many years. But also, we have to get from a different side. How do we know all these things that we're talking about, that we need to have in place before it can actually happen, that we wake up on Friday and realize there's no virus? All the data you're taking is from past experiences. So we all know over the years, to create a new vaccine takes 18 months. We all know over the years now of the story of how the virus works and operates and how it spreads. We've all learned from data over the years too about how we have to stay apart, whether it's 1 meter or 2 meters. All these have been drawn from past data. But what if I say to you, in the manual, the manual, which is the Bible, which is God's word, was given. One reason God gave us was for inspiration. And when you look at inspiration, it's like you can always learn from things that happened in the past. And that's exactly where your own thinking is going. So your belief is based on what's happened in the past to make you see what is possible and what is not possible. And that's why it's hard for you to believe if I say to you, by Friday, there'll be no virus anymore. Now, just a little disclaimer here. I am not a prophet, but just come along with me as I talk through this topic called believe. Elisha said in 24 hours, there was going to be a major turnaround because the town of Samaria was going through severe famine. Now, you might be thinking, oh, famine, just famine. Now, let me break this down to you, how bad their famine was. This famine was so bad that 2 ladies had to come to an agreement. They were so hungry and they decided, okay, we're going to come together, we're going to eat your son today, and then tomorrow, we're going to eat my own son. Now, we all know what the love of a mother is like, because a mother knows what it means to carry a baby for 9 months in the stomach. And so for a mother to actually give up her baby willingly, and not just give up the baby, but they actually eat the baby, that should tell you the level of the famine and how hungry they were at that time. That's how bad it was. Now, we are going through a pandemic even at this time. We've got airports shut, we've lost quite a lot of lives, we've got a sickness ravaging through the whole world. We've got economies literally crashing, businesses closing down, people losing jobs, with so much going on all around us. And so it sort of relates to how they were feeling at that time of Elisha. And Elisha said to them, in 24 hours, this time tomorrow, there's going to be a total turnaround. And then the servant of the king that was there said to him, come on, even if God opens the floodgates of heaven, there's no way that's going to happen. What happened at the end? It came to pass. In 24 hours, there was a mega turnaround. And the servant of the king that refused to believe it lost out, because they said to him, you will see it, but you will not taste it. Now, very quickly, I've got 3 points which I'm going to put out to you here. Then I'm going to tell you what happened in between the time the statement was made and the time in which it actually happened. How did it all happen? Now, these 3 points I'm going to give will explain more or less what happened in the middle. First, there was a prophecy, and the servant refused to believe. I've just made a statement to you now that by Friday, or what I just said, what if I say to you, by Friday, there'll be no more virus? But in your mind, in your heart, you've argued totally against this. Even though you've got no proof, you can't tell the future. But what if you just believe that it is possible? Do you realize it doesn't really cost you anything to actually just, okay, you know what? I'm going to believe this is possible. Because that's what you want. So why are you refusing to believe it? So now we're going to take it from there. The servant refused to believe. I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, or at the beginning of March, I can say, I made a plan of what I wanted to earn by the 30th of April. I wrote it in my book and I was getting ready. I did not know how, I did not know where it's going to happen. I had absolutely no clue how I was going to do it. And personally speaking, looking at it physically, it was absolutely and totally impossible. But I just believed it because I said to myself, what if I just believe it? What's going to happen? I'm just going to believe it. That's all I'm going to do. Just believe. And that's what I did. I just believed it. And I sat down one day with my wife in May and I put a chart on the board and I wrote out to her, I said, this was what I planned to do. And guess what? I actually achieved higher than the amount I was talking about. And guess what? I did not get the cash as it was, but so many things happened that I did not need to spend because obviously we're in a lockdown. And so when I calculated all the savings I made from the negotiations I made, from the discounts I got, I realized that I saved myself more than that amount of money. Now you got to remember, God's ways are not our ways. I will come back to that a bit shortly. Next, he saw it, but he did not eat of it, just because he did not believe. Now, he actually sabotaged achieving what he was supposed to achieve just because he refused to believe. It's not too difficult. Just believe. It doesn't cost you anything. You might think, Victor, I've got nothing in my hands. Don't worry. Just believe. That's all I'm going to say to you today. He did not taste of it, even though he saw it. Now, if I say to you, there'll be no pandemic by Friday, your thinking is, we will find a vaccine. Your thinking is, there'll be sudden change in the economy. But that might not be the case. Because God's ways are not our ways. Those who choose to believe that statement could actually achieve. Because number one, God could protect them from the pandemic. God could help their businesses boost all of a sudden within the next few days. God can help them all of a sudden to find a job within the next few days. There are people who are resuming new jobs tomorrow, Monday. Yes, there are people in this world who are. At the same time, there are people out there who are trying to find jobs. But which side do you choose to look on or focus on? The guy who's found a job and who is starting tomorrow, or the guy who is still searching and hasn't found any yet? And then finally, because I'm sure you're wondering, what happened in these 24 hours? Now, let me tell you what happened in 24 hours. There were 4 lepers sitting outside the gate of Samaria. Now, in those days, those with leprosy were not allowed into the city. So they were sitting outside by the gate. And as they were by the gate, just sitting there, they thought to themselves, if we go into the city, we're going to die. If we stay here, we're going to die. And they thought, you know what? We must just move on. We're going to go to the city of the Arameans because they knew they had food there. We're going to go there and go and look for some food. What's the worst case scenario? They're going to kill us, even though we're going to die here anyway. Now, those lepers, they decided to go to the land of the Arameans. When they got there, before they got there, God made the Arameans hear as if there were people coming to attack them. And they all left all their things and they ran away. They left all their riches, the gold, silver, food, everything, and they just disappeared. So when the lepers got there, they were looking around thinking, there's no one here. What's going on? Everyone had disappeared. So they went to the city, they had lots to eat, and they now thought, you know what? We might be cursed if we stay here and keep all this food to ourselves. We're going to go back to Samaria and tell the people that there's plenty of food for everybody here. And they went back, they told the people, and then there was now plenty to eat within 24 hours. So you might be thinking, or maybe you've been thinking of certain ways of doing things. You might be thinking of certain channels. Bob Goff once again said, just turn one quarter. He didn't even say make a U-turn. You've been focusing in one way for this whole time, trying to rebuild yourself. Bob Goff just said, just turn to a quarter. That's a quarter. That's all he asks to do. And you'll see things totally differently. But first, you have to believe and take the courage to make that turn. And finally, as I've said before, God works in mysterious ways. His ways are not our ways. You know, when I look at miracles of Jesus in the Bible, they are never the same. Two same problems, he solves them in two different ways. When Jesus was told that Lazarus was very ill and was about to die, Jesus stayed back where he was for extra days before he went. And when he turned up there at the fourth day. Because I was hearing a preacher talking the other day, and he said possibly it was because at that time they believed that the spirit or the soul of the man stays in his body for up to 3 days, and then he leaves his body on the third day. So Jesus turned up on the fourth day. So when he does the miracle, the people will not say, oh, he's only 3 days anyway, so the soul was still there. So he turned up on the fourth day. And he took his time. And when he got to the grave, he called him, Lazarus, come forth. He's not walking there, he did not touch him, he just spoke and he came back to life. The same way when a man called Darius came to Jesus and said his daughter was ill. And when Jesus said, oh, I'll come to your house and come and heal her. As Jesus was on his way to the house, he left immediately. And was only delayed by the woman who touched his garment and got healed. And he just stopped, spoke briefly to the woman, and he carried on. By the time he got to the house, he said, oh, she's dead already. And he said, nah, she's not dead, she's only sleeping. And he went into the room, he held her hand, and he brought her back to life. In Lazarus' case, he took his time. In Darius' case, he went straight away. 2 people dead, 2 same miracles, done differently. If you're just saying, okay, maybe that was by chance, I'll tell you about the blind man. Jesus saw a blind man and he asked him, why was this man blind? And Jesus said it was for his glory. And he spat on the ground, mixed the sand, put it in the man's eyes, and the man could see again. But when blind Bartimaeus was shouting, Jesus, Son of God, heal me, he called him over and said to him, what do you want me to do for you? He said, I want to see. And he said, yeah, go ahead, you can see now. He didn't even touch him. 2 blind people. One, he mixed the sand in the ground. The other one, he just spoke it and the man could see again. So in case you're looking for a certain particular way to find your miracle, because God did it a certain way the last time, I want to encourage you now. God works in mysterious ways. And all these things are from his manual, which have all happened before. The same way you might be thinking in your head, it's not possible for things to turn around all of a sudden because of all the things and all the past experiences that are going in your head. I want to encourage you today. Whatever you're going through now, just take that little turn. Just believe and just take the power and the strength. Just say, you know what? I want to turn around. I want to look towards my Creator to find answers, to find the right direction. I want to look in the manual of the person that created me so I can find the right way to get through this situation. Let's enter this week focusing on the positive. Let's enter this week not focusing on all the bad things happening, but let's focus on all the things, the good things that could happen. Let's not constantly argue with people when they try and encourage you and say to you, yes, it is possible. And remember, God's timing to you is different. That happened in 24 hours. For some people, it might be 1 week. For some, it might be 4 days. It might be 10 days. But just keep believing and just keep walking and standing because his timing too is different for every single person. He operates differently. He times it differently. So I want to encourage you today. If there's anything you could do this week, just believe. Stay blessed. I love you all.